So welcome to today's Career Chat, Fun Fridays from the field for middle school students. I am going to bring up this slide. Well, Gina, you can start and grab some introductions.
Sure. So today we have Kara and Nick with us from Green Iowa AmeriCorps, and they're going to talk to us about sustainability careers. And first, I just want to hear a little bit. They have very interesting backgrounds, and I think you all will be very interested in knowing what they've done in the past and why they're interested in what they're doing now. So I'm going to have them both briefly touch on that background and then get into their presentation. So you have more background on what they do now.
Hi, I can go first. Hi, I'm Kara Holstrom, and I'm the Sustainability Education Coordinator right now at NICC through Green Iowa AmeriCorps. And I had a very interesting journey to where I am now. I actually grew up in Northeast Iowa near Riceville. It's about 45 minutes, an hour from Calmer. And when I graduated, I was a foreign exchange student in Venezuela, then went to college, and then I moved to New York City after that, and then moved to San Francisco and spent a little bit of time in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and in Paris, and ended back up in New York, and worked in the visual effects post-production industry for a very long time as a producer. But I realized at some point that wasn't my passion, and I've always been interested in the environment and sustainability. And so volunteered in my spare time at an organization in New York called Green Home NYC that looks to promote energy efficiency in the built environment. And that made me realize like this is something that I want to do. So I found this opportunity and this job through Green Iowa AmeriCorps as a sustainability coordinator at NICC, and decided to do it, and it's been awesome. So that's my story. Yeah.
And a little bit about me. My name is Nick. I am a recent college grad. I'm still in grad school as well, so I'm learning about sustainability now. But how I landed here is pretty fun as well. I went to high school in New Jersey, which is where I'm from. Love New Jersey. You should all go there if you haven't gotten the chance yet. It's beautiful. They don't call it the Garden State for no reason. It's so green, and you have every single season. You have fall, winter, summer, and spring, and you have beaches, mountains. It's amazing. But coming from New Jersey, graduating from high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I went to college for went to college for business administration, which is a very broad umbrella major that you can select. I didn't know that I would be here, but when I graduated with my business administration degree, I went into the finance field. I was a financial analyst and I was a financial auditor for a few years before I realized that what I'm doing every day doesn't make an impact on the earth in a positive way. I wanted my job to mean something. I wanted to be impactful with my daily job. So I quit my job and moved to Iowa, which is why I'm here now. And I took a job with NICC as the Sustainability Operations Coordinator. So we are spearheading a bunch of projects to help the environment stay as clean as possible, to reduce emissions, to increase conservation on the farm, but we'll get into all of that stuff later. So that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. Let's launch into that presentation, Stephanie, if it's up and ready.
Okay. So while Stephanie gets that up, we just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about how we're here. And Nick and I we're service members serving out a service term with Green Iowa AmeriCorps. And if you're not familiar with the organization, it's similar to the Peace Corps, which I think most people are more familiar with, but you serve in the United States. So they have 3 different tracks. Right now they're looking for summer stewards. So I know that you guys are in middle school, but this is something to think about when you get to high school. When you are 17 years old, you can also serve with Green Iowa AmeriCorps. And there's 3 different tracks. Nick and I are in sustainable schools. So we're at a school There's also schools in Dubuque and Des Moines, Clear Creek and Manna, all over the state of Iowa that have Waterloo, Cedar Falls, that have Green Iowa AmeriCorps members. And then there's also energy and community members. And that's where you work more with like Winneshiek Energy District in Decorah, for example. They have people going out and doing energy audits for homes to make the homes more energy efficient. And then finally, there's the land and water stewards, and they work with organizations like Trees Forever, for example, planting trees. There's also people who are interested in, conservation for farmers, and there's Practical Farmers of Iowa has members as well. So you get, there's 3, 6, and 11th month terms. You get what's called a living stipend. And then you also get an education grant to go towards if you're going to school. So it's kind of like a scholarship, or it's a grant. So that's a little bit about Green Iowa AmeriCorps. There's the website right there. And if you're interested, you can also get in touch with us as well. And then I think next slide, and I think Nick's going to take over and talk about sustainability.
Sure. So we've been tossing around the term sustainability throughout this presentation so far, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows what that means, because it is a very broad term that is kind of hard to understand if you're not told what it is. So if you hit the next slide, I have a little definition of the most common definition of it. So sustainability means development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. What that really means is being able to provide for everybody without hurting anybody or the world. So sustainability means essentially everybody being able to live happily and comfortably in a world that isn't being destroyed. So sustainability is a phrase that you can apply to many, many, many things. You can apply it to the finance field. You can apply it to the science field. You can apply it to the math field. You can apply it to anything that anybody does. And you can improve on those processes to make those processes more adaptable to the world that we live in. So if you hit the next slide, there's something called the UN. I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with, oh, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself, wrong slide. So sustainability really encompasses these 3 things: the environment, which is trees, lakes, mountains, everything in the world that is alive, and even things that are not alive, like rocks and water and all of that sort of stuff. That's the environment. Inside of the environment, there is society. That's people. That's relationships. That's everything that you could imagine, good and bad. And then inside of society works economy, which is money, which is business, which is operations, which is all of that type of stuff. But if you look at this diagram, everything stems from the environment. Without the environment, society does not exist. Without society, the economy does not exist. So making sure that you focus on all 3 of these when you do anything is very important. So when a business operates, they have to make sure that they're not hurting the environment with what they do, they're not hurting society with what they do, and they're helping the economy with what they do. But you cannot do that without a functioning environment, a functioning society, and a functioning economy. So you need to make sure that when you do anything in this world, whether it's buying a cup of coffee or installing solar panels, you need to make sure that you're considering all 3 of these pillars. They're called the 3 pillars of sustainability. You need to make sure that you're considering all of these when you do anything, because without this, the world will not be able to function properly for future generations. So with that being said, there is something called the UN, the United Nations, and they have graciously defined 17 very important goals for us to focus on, called the Sustainable Development Goals. these 17 things are key points to focus on in general. By 2050, they plan to have, as you can see, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, and the list goes on, all these 17 very important issues that they want to achieve by 2050, which is very ambitious, but they want the world to be a perfect place very soon. Businesses are starting to use these goals to shift what they do on a daily basis. So all of these touch on sustainability. Sustainability touches on gender equality. It touches on energy production. It touches on reduced inequalities, life below water, life on land. Sustainability is incorporated in everything every day. So while it is a career that you can absolutely dive into, specifically being a sustainability operations coordinator or a sustainability education coordinator, there are also many other fields that you can apply sustainability to. So if you hit the next slide, there's a bunch of different jobs in the sustainability field. You can be a forester. You know what, Kara, I'll let you take. I feel like I've been talking for quite some time. So Kara, I'll let you take this slide.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so there's so many different jobs in the sustainability field. A forester or a conservationist are two that come to mind that I think a lot of people in Iowa might be interested in. An energy expert. I was also looking down at the solar and wind turbine installer. Those kind of go hand in hand, because as we try to reduce our carbon footprint and save on energy, those solar and wind turbine installers are the fastest growing jobs in the renewable energy field in the United States right now. There's also recycling and waste specialists. That can be in your school, for example, if you're trying to implement a recycling program, reduce waste, and implement a composting program. Nick also talked about being a financial expert. Right now, they're looking for people who have expertise in the financial field, specifically for the sustainability realm. And then obviously scientists, environmental scientists, you could be a chemist. There's all sorts of things you can do in the science field that relates to sustainability, measuring greenhouse gas emissions, the list goes on and on. So those are just a few that we pulled out, and obviously our jobs too. We love our jobs, but yeah, so that's our presentation, and we're happy to answer questions or, go from there.
Great presentation. You covered a lot of the questions on the worksheet, so I hope all of our audience members were listening carefully. I do want to ask you about soft skills, because that's something we really like to talk about and we hear constantly from employers. So what kind of soft skills, top 2 or 3, are important overall in sustainable career fields? Why don't you start, Nick?
Sure. So one that's very important that I find, at least, is communication. Being able to articulate what you want to say in a way that others can understand it is very important, because a lot of the topics in sustainability are complex. They're hard to understand. I haven't even touched the surface of many of them, so I am by no means an expert, but being able to articulate and speak about what you want to say, and even asking questions, making eye contact when you ask those questions. Communication is very, very important in sustainability, as well as every other career ever. So making sure that you can communicate with your colleagues, your boss, your employees, whatever the case may be, your friends, your family, the list goes on. Communication is very important.
Kara, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think I would say the obvious, show up on time, do what you're, asked to do, but also take the extra step, be open-minded and try to learn as much as possible, because you never know. Like I said, I was a French major in college. I thought I wanted to become a language professor. Then I thought I wanted to be in the film production industry, and I ended up in visual effects, and I really liked it, but that wasn't what ultimately I really truly wanted to do. And it took me a long time to figure it out. And you want to be open to that idea that, okay, maybe I don't like this, but I could learn something from this. And by asking for maybe not extra work, but asking to do different projects, or being open when somebody asks you to do something, that's really important, because it can open your eyes and increase your skill set, which is very, very important in this day and age.
Absolutely. It says a lot when you take some extra initiative, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. How about, what do you really like about this career so far, Kara?
So what I like is that we are getting to do so many different things. It's not the same thing every day. And we both feel really lucky because we've been able to pursue, I think, projects that really interest our own particular interests. I have a very big passion for composting and waste management, which seems a little bit odd, but I'm able to now look into implementing composting at the college, which I think is fantastic. I also am very interested in energy efficiency, and so we're getting to put together a climate action plan, or a clean energy plan, however you want to term it. So we want to reduce the college's energy usage, help reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and do whatever we can to help the college on its sustainability mission. And then we also, luckily, the Dairy and Agricultural Center out here in Calmer, they are looking to go net zero, which means carbon neutral by 2030. And this is coming from the national level. The Dairy Market Association, I think, is looking to do that by 2050. They want to do it more quickly and become an example for the area. And what's fantastic is we're able to be a part of that and look into regenerative agricultural practices, see what we can do to help the cows, what they're doing with the soil, all sorts of things. So it's never the same, but it's all towards the same goal, and it's very exciting.
Wow, what exciting projects. It sounds like there's a future potentially for sustainability in ag careers.
Definitely. 100%.
Okay. Maybe one of those emerging occupations that we hear about every once in a while, right? Great. Nick, anything you want to add about what you do that you like? And if there's anything that maybe isn't your favorite, you could tell us about that too.
Sure. To touch on what you just mentioned, sustainability, agricultural positions, green jobs, which is sustainability jobs, is the fastest growing job market in the world right now. So this is a great opportunity to get in early if you know that this is something you're interested in. It is definitely something that is possible in the near future, because so many people are looking for professionals who know what sustainability is and can help their company achieve those goals. So it's a great opportunity to get in early. So definitely consider it. But I love this job because it's very flexible. I'm able to dip my toes in a bunch of different projects at the same time and reach these goals that the school has set. And it's not the same thing every day, like Kara said. So I'm able to be involved in all of these projects at once and not sit behind a computer every day running the same reports, which is what I used to do. I would crunch numbers all the time, and it was so boring and I hated it. It was terrible. So now I actually get to move around every day, talk to different people every day, understand where they're coming from and what their needs are and how we can help achieve those goals. It's awesome. I love this job. But something that I'm not too too excited about when I do this job is all the paperwork that comes along with it. There's a lot of boxes that you have to check to make sure that you are crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and doing everything the proper way. So paperwork's not really the best, but somebody's got to do it, so we do it. You have to take the good with the bad.
There's not 100% everything you like about every job, right? I know. Same with my career as well. I think for the most part, it's like 98%
Mhm.
Great. Then once in a while, there's that 2%, like just get through this because you have to do the fun stuff, right? That's a great lesson for always, right, in our career. So you both have very different backgrounds. If you truly wanted to focus on a career in sustainability, what might someone want to study, or what classes particularly should they look at taking in high school that might benefit them? Kara, let's start with you.
Great. Yeah. So I would say, obviously, science classes would be helpful. I think in this field, science and math classes, surprisingly, you end up using, because I think data analysis is important for a lot of different jobs. And science, obviously, because we're talking about the field of sustainability. But also English communication classes, like Nick was talking about, are very important. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to get your idea across. And being able to do that in writing is important, but then also communicating with people. And I think we've probably shown that there's a wide variety of positions, areas, industries that this goes into. So you'll also be talking to a lot of different people, and being able to clearly communicate is very important. So those would be my recommendations.
Fantastic. Well, that was a really fast 20 minutes, but we need to let our audience get on their way to their other activities today. So we thank you so much for your time this morning, and we will see you again at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.